Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. It's Emil and we're doing a book check-in for the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. Chapter 1 is called The Height Requirement. And in this chapter, he's explaining how you really have to have something to you before you get on the entrepreneur roller coaster. And that something, he calls it love. And a lot of people don't like that mushy-gushy stuff, but the love or the passion behind what you're doing, there's many levels to it, and he gets in depth into explaining that. He talks a little bit about in his earlier years when he was really building this water filtration sales company. Really to make the cut, he had to recruit a lot of people and get them to push sales. So there was one person that he was shy of just to make that quota for the month. He was going to be clearing $20,000 that month. And the lady, he rolled out the red carpet and gave her the whole pitch. And this was an older woman, and she said, I trust you. You seem like a very honest and genuine guy. I want your opinion. Do you really think I have what it takes to make it in this business? Because this $5,000 investment is my last investment. It's the last of my nest egg. Or I guess her husband died or something to that effect. So he sat there for a few minutes and really had to ponder it. And he's an honest guy. He couldn't lie to her. And he told her, I don't think you do. And honestly, I don't think I do either. And right then was his last day. He called one of his associates and told them they're taking over the company because he's not coming back. And he was true to his word. He said that, because he's such an honest and genuine guy, if he's going to be passionate about something, he actually does have to really care about it. And in this effect, he didn't feel that he was being honest with people. So finding your passion, what is it about your life that you're passionate about? Finding something that really drives you, and how do you cultivate that? And a lot of people, he says, say, I'm not really passionate, or I don't know what my passion is. It's inside of you. It doesn't take looking externally to find it. So it really boils down to 4 light switches, as he calls them. They're different things, different triggers in your mind that could cause you to be a call to action. So switch number 1, he says, is being passionate about what you do. And he says to be wary of this one because you don't always have to love what you're doing, but a lot of people feel the need to, but that's not really necessary. So what you're doing, the actual act of the process, right? Some people are passionate about the process. He says switch number 2 is being passionate about why you're doing it. And that's more along the lines of outcome. When you know the outcome you want, then the process no longer matters. He says this one's a much stronger pull. The third switch being how you're doing it. So some people you'll notice in life are maybe extremely articulate in the way they do things. So for instance, you may go to a restaurant and this waiter or waitress might give you the most phenomenal service ever. Or you may hire a cleaning company, and this cleaning company takes such attention to detail that you would never even consider going with someone else, and you know that you're paying for quality. And he says with people like this, success typically seeks them out. So it's very hard to keep somebody, if you have someone in your organization like that, it's typically hard to keep them for long because somebody's always seeking out the quality of their work. And the fourth switch being who you're doing it for. And for anyone with children or with a family, sometimes that can be a strong enough pull to get you to do anything to make that end result happen. So he says any one of those 4 will work as long as you've identified it and you keep it on the forefront of your mind. So what he talks about in addition to that is finding your fight. And whereas we just talked about love, finding what you love to do or what you love about it, the other side of that is finding your fight. So he explains, let's say your cause is whaling, like your cause is whale conservation. The antithesis of that would be whale hunting, or maybe it's global climate change or overfishing, anything to that effect. So we really want to identify either a passion, what we love about something, or the exact opposite, which would be what we're fighting against, what our enemy is. So he also says in finding your strength, you also want to understand that not everybody is born with it. And you may hear people say, oh, it's just not a part of who I am. It's just not in my DNA. I wasn't born a leader. And he says that's a cop-out. That's really, you using an excuse to, justify you not doing anything greater. And he says that you look at a lot of people like Richard Branson, like Steve Jobs, like Mark Cuban, they had very rocky childhoods, very rocky pasts, and they maybe didn't come from much, but they still accomplished such great things because they didn't let something like, the mindset of they weren't born with success or it's not in them to trick their imagination into thinking that they couldn't do it. So really this chapter was fantastic. And, he talks, I want to quote actually, he says, the reason I'm not a great musician, leader, communicator, parent, spouse, athlete, salesperson, or whatever is because I'm not wired to be one. Thinking of talent as innate makes our world more manageable and more comfortable. It takes away the burden of expectation. So he said, don't think like that, right? Because that's a poor man's way of thinking, and that will always keep you broke. One last thing he brings up is in the book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. He talks about the 10,000 hour rule. And if any of you are familiar with the 10,000 hour rule, basically it explains that mastery of any skill only comes from 10,000 hours plus of practice or effort in that arena. For instance, if you've never touched a piano before, you're not going to be great at it. You may have never experienced a mistake playing the piano, but you also have no experience in it. So getting 10,000 hours sitting at the white ivory keys, playing them for, practicing intentionally and getting better, you're going to be a great pianist after 10,000 hours. So he explains that, we can all become geniuses and reach mastery in any areas of our lives if we commit to a process of constant and never-ending improvement. We just have to stay focused and provide, deeper concentration in that area, and anybody can be successful in whatever it is that you want to do. So I hope you guys like this check-in. And if you guys have any comments or any other insight that you may have from what you've read in this chapter or in this book in general, or any other thoughts you want to share, I'd love to see them in the comment section. Don't forget to hit subscribe.